The story begins with Perfidia, a fierce member of a far-left rebel group called French 75, secretly watching an immigrant detention center. She studies every guard, every camera, every weak spot. Later, she meets her team and goes over the final details of their dangerous mission. Perfidia pulls Pat aside and reminds him of his job. Create a loud distraction when the time comes, so the guards panic and lose control. As the sun goes down, the team quietly slips into the detention center. One group captures the soldiers while the others rush to free the immigrants. Perfidia heads straight to the commander, Lockjaw. She enters his room with cold confidence. She tells him exactly what French 75 stands for, and how tonight's mission will expose and embarrass his entire operation. She ties his hands so he can't fight back, and drags him outside to join the other captured guards. Meanwhile, the freed immigrants climb into the escape trucks. Right then, Pat sets off the explosion, their planned diversion, lighting up the night sky like fireworks. Perfidia tells Lockjaw that this is only the beginning. French 75 is declaring war. Then the team escapes into the night, thrilled by their successful mission. With the adrenaline still rushing through them, Perfidia and Pat share a heated kiss, celebrating victory and survival. The group then begins blowing up politicians, offices, banks, and power grids. During this period, Perfidia and Pat begin an affair. After that night, Lockjaw becomes obsessed with Perfidia. He keeps an eye on her and becomes furious when he sees her with Pat. One day, while the group is preparing a bomb, Lockjaw captures Perfidia. He tells her she can continue blowing things up, but only if she meets him at a motel.
If you want to keep doing what you're doing, you'll meet me at the Primrose Path 2300.
Later that day, Perfidia meets him there, and they sleep together. A few days later, Perfidia becomes pregnant, but she continues living her usual life, which worries Pat. After the baby is born, Perfidia feels neglected. Pat wants them to settle down and raise the family, but she refuses and continues her revolutionary activities. One day, Pat is approached by Lockjaw in a supermarket. He asks about the child. Pat says they have a baby girl named Charlene. Lockjaw comments that it sounds like a black girl's name. He adds that he loves black girls and walks away, terrifying Pat. During a bank robbery, Perfidia shoots a security guard. The group escapes in cars, leading to a long chase. Perfidia's car crashes, and they flee on foot, but the police catch and arrest her. While in custody, Perfidia is approached by Lockjaw, who tells her he can free her if she provides information about key group members. With her arrest, Pat goes on the run. A fellow member, Howard, gives him a device that plays a tune when it is closed, indicating that whoever holds it can be trusted. He also gives Pat an envelope with coded language for communication and instructs him to burn it after memorizing it. Pat prepares to flee with his daughter. They plan to hide in the sanctuary city of Bacton Cross. Perfidia leaks information about the group members, and the authorities put her in witness protection. Lockjaw begins hunting down her comrades and eliminates many of them. He is awarded for taking down French 75. When he goes to visit Perfidia, he discovers she has escaped. 16 years later, Pat's daughter is grown and living under the name Willa Ferguson. She is learning karate from her sensei, Sergio. Pat, now going by Bob Ferguson, has become a stoner and is paranoid about everything. Lockjaw advances in his career and is one day invited to a white supremacist group called the Christmas Adventure Club. They question him about his past and warn that they will perform a background check. They ask if he is engaged in interracial relationships and many other personal questions.
Have you ever engaged in an interracial relationship?
No, sir.
He denies everything. Howard is now living off-grid and secretly running French 75. One day, he is captured by the bounty hunter Avanti. A group of neighborhood kids witnesses this and alerts others. Avanti takes Howard to a military facility, where he is interrogated about the whereabouts of baby Charlene. When he refuses to answer, they threaten his sister's life. He is forced to leak the information. The intel is given to Lockjaw. Lockjaw prepares his men and announces that they will go to Bacton Cross to arrest two high-value targets, Bob and Willa Ferguson. They arrive in the city. As a cover for their mission, they are also ordered to raid a drug distribution center. Willa is frustrated with her father's constant smoking and paranoia. She attends a school dance, where Bob behaves rudely toward her friends before.
What's up, homie?
Hey, how's it going?
You cool? Yeah, I was just here to pick up
Yeah,
Willa.
you normally knock that loud at somebody's house like that? Yeah, give us a sec, homie.
In the school bathroom, Willia's device suddenly starts playing its tune. A French 75 member, Deandra, appears. She speaks the coded message, and Willa replies correctly. Deandra tells her that an SOS has been issued, and they need to leave immediately. She knew both Willa's parents and tells her she can be trusted. They flee the school as ICE agents raid it. The soldiers line up the students, searching for Willa.
Do you know Willa Ferguson?
No.
1, 2, 3.
Do you know Willa Ferguson?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Do you know Willa Ferguson?
No.
Do you know Willa Ferguson?
Bob, high at home, receives a coded call. But at first he can't remember the code.
Well, I don't remember the fucking greeting code because I got a little bit high. And it's been fucking years, so you gotta help me out here with that.
After struggling, he recalls it. They inform him that Howard has been captured. Lockjaw is coming, and Willa is already secured. They tell him to meet at the rendezvous point, but before he can ask for the location, the call disconnects. He panics and tries to think of a way out. Lockjaw and his soldiers storm his house. They find a tunnel, but, fearing traps, toss smoke grenades into it. Bob escapes just in time and emerges in the jungle. He washes his eyes in a public restroom. His device is dead, so he uses a payphone to call the underground French 75 members. They ask him again, what time is it? The code question, but he still can't remember the correct answer. He begs them to understand his situation, but they refuse to share any information without the code. ICE raids spread throughout the town. Bob runs through the chaos and arrives at Sergio's office. He searches for a gun. Sergio, a leader of the city's undocumented community, tells him they must leave and that he will get him a weapon. In the car, Bob explains everything. Sergio asks why he doesn't call Willa, but Bob says she has no phone because it's too risky. Sergio reveals she secretly has one. Agents interrogate kids about Willa, but none of them know anything. A student insists she has no phone because her father wouldn't allow it. Deandra asks Willa if she knows about Lockjaw. Willa says yes. Her father told her he killed her mother. The city descends into chaos as locals protest against ICE. A group of skaters approaches Sergio's car, and he gives them instructions. He takes Bob to his shop to look for a charger. Meanwhile, he coordinates the underground escape of undocumented families through a hidden tunnel. Bob finally charges his phone and calls French 75 again. They repeat the same question. What time is it? He argues with them in frustration. Sergio prepares the escape route. ICE agents knock on the shop door, but a kid notices and runs. The agents break in. Desperate, Bob uses a code he remembers to reach the supervisor. The supervisor recognizes him and asks a personal question, which Bob answers correctly. The supervisor tells him the rendezvous point.
Hey, rendezvous is Sisters of the Brave Beaver. Tell them how to get there. Apologize. Mean it.
Bob demands to know the answer to the code question. The supervisor reveals,
Time doesn't exist, yet it controls us anyway.
Bob is furious. Sergio tells him they must leave immediately. He assigns students to escort Bob to safety and gives him a gun. Bob panics, but Sergio urges him to be brave. Sergio and the others escape through the tunnel. The students take Bob to the rooftop. At the school, agents finally pressure a student into revealing Willa's secret phone. In the car, Willa's phone starts ringing. Deandra becomes angry, tells her to hand over the phone, and throws it away. Lockjaw is notified of the phone's last location. The students run with Bob across the rooftop, but when Bob jumps, he falls. He tries to escape, but police tase him, mistaking him for a protester. The students inform Sergio that Bob has been captured, but fortunately they still have his gun. Deandra and Willa arrive at the Sisters of Brave Beaver's location. Deandra tells the nuns she is Perfidia's daughter and is seeking protection for Willa. The leader, Rael, is surprised to see her. She reveals that Willa's mother was a rat, meaning she betrayed the group, so the nuns will keep a close watch on Willa. A nun leads Willa to her room. Deandra and Relay talk and reminisce about their past. Meanwhile, Tim Smith, a member of the Christmas Adventure Club, meets with other members. Vorel tells him they have a problem and need his help. They recently decided to add Lockjaw as a member. Another member, Bill, reveals they discovered information suggesting Lockjaw has a child with a black woman. This comes from a classified file where French 75 member Jungle Pacey reported the story to an officer 15 years ago. Jungle Pacey is dead, so they cannot confirm. Recently, Lockjaw hired a bounty hunter to locate ex-French 75 member Howard, who helps immigrants cross the border and find work in a sanctuary city. Lockjaw has already taken his task force to the city and raided a chicken farm suspected of illegal activity. The farm's owner is one of their own members, and he wants his worker back. Lockjaw also raided the local ICE office, throwing the whole city into chaos. Tim realizes Lockjaw is searching for his half-breed child. They show him Perfidia's file, explaining that Lockjaw was the officer who arrested her. She entered witness protection and later fled. She is now believed to be in Cuba or Algeria. Roy, their leader, tells Tim he must clean up the situation. Tim understands and leaves. Willa trains with the nuns. She is angry after learning her mother was a rat. She asks Deandra if it's true, and Deandra confirms it. Bob is in police custody pretending to be a junkie. They take him for screening. He gives them a fake name. A nurse checks him, then suddenly calls him Bob and asks if he's diabetic and has taken insulin. Bob catches on and says no. The nurse tells the officer he must be taken to the ER. At the hospital, another nurse approaches Bob, frees him, and tells him which exit to take. After she leaves, Bob escapes. Outside, he finds Sergio waiting. Sergio tells him they must go to the Sisters of Brave Beaver. Lockjaw interrogates a man at a roadside shop. The man says he saw a van heading toward the hills with a black girl. Lockjaw asks what's in the hills. The man says a group of nuns live there and grow weed. Lockjaw finds this absurd. Deandra and Willa are sitting together when they hear a noise. Deandra goes to check. Suddenly, agents burst in and arrest Willa. They bring her to Lockjaw, and she sees the nuns being detained. He tells her to come closer and examines her. He puts her in a chair, pulls out a DNA testing kit, swabs her mouth, and then swabs himself. He prepares the test and tells her, if the results don't match, she can go. If they do, they have a problem. While waiting, he asks her age and whether she has a boyfriend, but she refuses to answer. In another room, an agent interrogates Deandra about Pat's location, but she says she doesn't know. Willa asks Lockjaw if he forced her mother or loved her. Lockjaw asks whether she believes he is her father. She says it doesn't matter. She already has a father, and it's not him. He grabs her and tells her she should wear more makeup to look presentable. They argue, and he calls her a, quote, a smart mouth. Just like her mother, the test result appears a straight line, indicating a positive match. Lockjaw gathers everything and prepares to leave. Bob and Sergio drive toward the hills when a cop follows them and orders them to stop. Sergio tells Bob to jump from the car. Bob hesitates, then falls out. He hides as the police car passes, then hotwires another car and drives toward the hills. He takes an elevated position to watch the area from a distance. Lockjaw drags Willa toward a car. She tries to escape, but he forces her in. Bob aims with a sniper rifle and sees Lockjaw pushing Willa into the car. He fires but misses. Lockjaw gets inside and drives off. The soldiers return fire toward Bob's location. He dodges the bullets, gets back in his car, and chases after Lockjaw. In the car, Lockjaw calls Willa's mother a beautiful witch. Willa says she was a rat. Lockjaw insists she was a woman who fought for freedom. Willa repeats that she was a rat.
She was a fucking rat!
He angrily tries to hit her but stops, saying he should respect her parents. He takes her to Avanti, the bounty hunter, and tells him to get rid of her. He claims she is mixed up with a cartel, and no one will miss her. Avanti refuses, saying he doesn't kill kids. Lockjaw offers double pay, but Avanti still refuses. Lockjaw instructs him to hand her over to a militia group instead. Avanti agrees, drags her out, and forces her into his car. Bob loses sight of the car and asks locals for directions. They point him the right way. Sergio is captured by cops while pretending to be drunk. When they ask what he threw from the car, he claims it was trash. Willa tries to break down the door of the room she's locked in. Avanti asks if anyone will come for her. She says yes, and when they find her, they're going to mess him up. Lockjaw is driving when another car approaches. The driver signals him to roll down the window. When he does, the driver shoots him. Lockjaw's car crashes. Avanti delivers Willa to the militia and says she's from Lockjaw. They tie her to a chair and give the key to the caretaker. Avanti calls someone to pick her up. Tim confirms Lockjaw is dead and leaves. Bob finds the wrecked car and sees no sign of Willa. He uses his device and shouts the coded message, hoping she'll respond. Realizing she isn't there, He returns to his car. Willa manages to grab Avanti's gun and creeps toward the house. She finds everyone dead and takes the key from Avanti's body. She starts the car and flees. Tim soon catches up to her. She drives up a hill and stops the car in a blind curve. She gets out and hides beside the road with the gun ready. Tim drives up the hill and crashes into her car. Willa points the gun at the door. Tim steps out. She shouts the coded message. Tim is confused and says, "What?" Willa shoots him dead. A few minutes later, Bob arrives. He uses the device and calls Willa. She keeps aiming her gun at him and demands the coded message. Bob answers and tells her he is her father. She finally embraces him. They leave together. Surprisingly, Lockjaw is still alive, staggering bloodied along the road. Eventually, he reaches the Christmas Adventure Club. They interrogate him about Perfidia and whether he was involved with her. With his disfigured face, Lockjaw says he faced many enemies, and once he was compromised, claiming Perfidia dragged him and stole his sperm. Virgil asks why she would do that. Lockjaw insists she wanted his powerful mind and body. Lockjaw becomes an official member of the club. One member shows him to his new office. After he sits, gas begins seeping from above. Lockjaw loses consciousness and dies. Men in hazmat suits remove and cremate his body. Bob tells his daughter that her mother sent letters, but he kept them hidden to protect her. Now he thinks it's time. He gives her the letter. In it, her mother says she doesn't know how their lives came to this point. She asks if Willa is okay and says she feels weak. She tried to change the world but failed. But maybe Willa will set things right. She ends by saying that when the time comes, they will meet again. After reading, Willa hugs her father. Bob now has a phone, and Willa teaches him how to use it. Suddenly, a radio message announces a protest in Oakland. With her father's blessing, she heads out to join. If you enjoyed our content, subscribe, like, and comment. Check out our other videos. You'll find them interesting.